Okay, and welcome back. As we are learning, one pilot has been rescued after a U.S. F-15E was shot down in southern Iran. We are still hoping and praying and waiting for good news on that second pilot. In the meantime, let's bring in Brent Sadler, a retired U.S. Navy captain and a former senior official at the Pentagon. Brent, great to have you with us again. Tell us what you know about this incident. What are you hearing from your sources?
Well, thanks for having me on this Good Friday. Not much more information. I think that's a good thing that's coming outside of the Pentagon or from CENTCOM on this, as we should expect the combat search operations are probably ongoing, looking for that second pilot. And hopefully we'll hear more in the coming hours. But I think it's also a reminder of how dangerous, even when you think you've secured the air, that there's always the danger there that someone could get lucky. There's a lot of new weapon systems that the Chinese and the Russians have tried to put into Iran since last summer. Let's hope we find out more about how we're doing on suppressing those capabilities as well.
And you were a senior official at the Pentagon, and I just wonder what would be happening at the Pentagon right now. What happens the moment they find out that a plane has gone down? Yeah. What is the process?
Well, they'll stay out of the operations, and I think that's a good thing. That'll be for CENTCOM and for the commanders on site to actually execute the operations to locate and then rescue, exfiltrate that second pilot, and if there's any sensitive wreckage, too, that they still want to try to get. It appears the Iranians are putting it on video, so that's probably not a likelihood, but getting that second pilot, that's the operational commanders in the region. The Pentagon will be answering questions for how does this impact the overall war effort? What does it indicate for change of tactics from the Iranians? Was there intelligence as well as capabilities provided by Moscow or Beijing that made this attack different from a lucky shot?
Brent, you mentioned that the officials at the Pentagon might be reevaluating things after this incident. What do you think they're thinking in terms of future strategy now? What changes because of what happened?
Well, I think tactics. This clearly is an example that the tactics and the manner in which we were operating were vulnerable, and the Iranians figured that out, either got lucky or they used new information or systems that they got from outside Iran to execute this attack. I mean, this has been going on now for about a month, enough time for them to figure out a pattern, if there were any, and to take advantage of it. So likewise, we'll be looking for how we can take advantage of any weaknesses in their new tactics. It's always a cat and mouse game in a very high-risk environment of conflict and combat. It's very hard to predict.
Do you think there has to be a step back to analyze their air defenses, what they've got? Do you think they will be looking at perhaps some of the air defenses they got from other countries? Do they have Russian S-300s? Would there be a reevaluation at this point of Iranian air defenses?
I don't think we'll see it in the operational that we're seeing ongoing right now, but there might be some tactics. And again, we won't know that for probably many days, if ever, until this conflict's over, what the consequences are, what we learned. But there was fear that the Russians were trying to get S-400s, their most advanced weapon system, into Iran after Midnight Hammer last year. And then there were numerous Chinese flights and suspicions that they, in addition to hypersonic anti-ship cruise missiles, may have also provided radars and weapon systems like the HQ-9, which their naval vessels and also a road mobile version may have been brought into Iran in the recent months.
Brent, no doubt the Iranians are feeling more emboldened now. They were able to shoot down a U.S. warplane. So do you expect that their tactics will become more aggressive now as they feel more emboldened about what they've done?
Well, if they're smart, they'll change, because if this was a one-off, we're going to be right on top of it. But clearly, after 13,000 plus sorties, this represents a 0.008 percentile of success rate on the Iranians. So if they had S-400s or S-300s that were operational from Russia or the latest from China, it hasn't really shown itself on the battlefield yet. And so that's a testament to the professionalism and the effectiveness of American weapons, but also the pilots that are operating these fighter aircraft and strike aircraft going into hostile airspace.
I've got to ask, Brent, if Tehran was able to capture a U.S. pilot, how would that shift what we're seeing at the moment? How would that shift what's happening next?
Well, I think the Iranians would be expected, as other regimes in the past, to try to use it for political purposes, to try more leverage here in the United States against the president's attack against the Iranians. And then, of course, it's a race. If the operations would wrap up in 2 weeks, would the Iranians be able to have any effectiveness in that or in the negotiations, using, sadly, if the pilot's remains or the pilot's alive, as some type of bargaining chip, like we've seen other Iranian proxies like Hamas do, with the dead as well as hostages in Gaza.
Yeah, and we've already seen them using a lot of propaganda already using their state media to try and get these messages out. Brent Sadler, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.